picture or something.
I mean, I should have, but yeah. I mean, we are live, my friend, again, and continuing to bitch about the current situation. I mean, as I said.
Hey, you forgot to do the intro.
Well, you over there are still Rish.
And you're still rolling.
And we continue to bitch about the situation in the world. And look, I am absolutely not surprised that people in China have reached the breaking point and start to protest because, number one, they probably are in the mind of, well, what's going to happen to us? We're going to get locked down. We're going to get thrown in jail. It's the same thing at this point. So I might as well stand up for myself. Yeah,
Fight for your
but
rights.
I don't think they are at the point yet where they realize the government doesn't have enough bullets for all of us. That's what the Eastern Germans realized and protested basically on a daily basis. But I mean, the counter thing of the government is you can't get out of China. Even when you are a student, forget about it. It is so difficult. They're gonna grill you at the border and not let you out if they don't want to. Yeah. And it really shows to me that the system itself knows it is about to crack. And for us from a Western perspective, this is actually the crucial moment. We want to continue to apply the pressure, keep pushing Chairman Xi's buttons or Putin's buttons, but not to the point where they do something crazy, because they absolutely will. Not because they are crazy, but they both essentially have the same mindset. I'm not a psychologist, warning ahead, but part of my training, I have to look into psychology a lot. So,
but there's a huge difference. See, I don't think Xi would use nukes because I don't think he's going to nuke Taiwan. I don't think he would nuke his own country. Now, Putin's crazy ass, on the other hand, he has active enemies. He's got somewhere to send them.
I think both personally, Putin and Xi would be getting their rocks off of pushing that button.
And I think Putin would do it first because Putin's putting them somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter where to them. It doesn't matter where they are pointing at. And I mean, Mao is on record saying about, yeah, let's have a nuclear war. We're gonna kill half the population, but in 10, 20 years, we're gonna have the same number of people again. And
essentially,
coming. Well, first of all, at that stage, both the Chinese and the Russians didn't acknowledge the principle of nuclear winter, nuclear fallout, or anything. Yet it's just another weapon, and that is particularly
with global impacts.
Well, first of all, they don't care about the rest of the world, both of them, and the mindset of how these people operate. First of all, you need to understand they are absolute dictators. If they say this person dead, that person's dead. Yeah, this happens. This happens. Yeah, that is how they live on a daily basis. The other thing is they are both in an ideology, in an extreme ideology, at the pinnacle, at the really top spot of it, that is essentially nihilistic. It's easier to explain that for the communist side, but I mean they have so many traits of fascists that you can throw the lot together, and you can put Adolf in the same bag. It's literally if these kind of people have a weapon that can destroy their enemy, They don't care about the consequences. All that matters to these people is I can hit them. The consequences don't matter. And in order to understand that and that nihilism that comes with it is, imagine a communist society. You get an apartment from the government, from the state. Yeah, not from the government, from the state. I get the same apartment. And the lazy guy that is drinking all day, not doing any work, gets the same apartment. So if you are not the absolute pinnacle of that society, your life is the same no matter what you do. And the people that have an education, the people that have some skills are starting to question, well, I can't be the top 100 people in this country to actually be privileged. So why the fuck does anything I do matter? It doesn't. And you start to get this attitude of nothing matters. And when you are born into that privilege, like Putin and his circle, nothing else matters as well because you have everything you need. Yeah. So they are not.
Those oligarchs' yachts sure did look nice.
They absolutely don't care. And from a point of view, when you are in a society, when you are the decision maker in a society where no matter what you do, you can't be wrong. Yeah. So in our earlier episode, I said, well, the smallest cog in the wheel, let's use agriculture because it works for both China and Russia, actually. So Farmer Deng or Farmer Yuri on their plot, they are getting from their overseer the task, we want 3 tons of grain. Yeah, but the soil is shit, the grain is shit, the weather is shit, they can only produce 2 tons. Yeah. So shit, I can't say I only have 2 tons, I'm getting my head cut off. So you are reporting 3 tons. Yeah. Then
they have a name for that system. It's called feudalism.
It's not feudalism. No. Feudalism. It is an absolute perversion in these societies of planned economies. So the next guy, the overseer, they realize, oh shit, I'm supposed to send 100 tons to the next stage up, but I only have 90. Yeah. So and this error or this misrepresentation carries on up until the point where Chairman Xi or Putin put 1 million tons of grain in their storage and say, oh, we can feed the whole population and we can give so and so many tons to poorer countries. Yeah. What happens is at some point the stocks that are not what they are supposed to be run out, people are starving. And you can apply that in every single context in these kind of societies. So the problem really is when you have this kind of situation. I mean, you have seen my video about Martek's law, right? Yeah. At some point, the discrepancy between reality and narrative is so big, it's going to collapse. And I think we have reached that, or we are reaching that point in China. And in terms of Russia and why I think Putin has absolutely no problem giving the order. Yeah. Putin has no button to press. Joe Biden has a button to push, quite literally. Yeah. In Russia, these weapons are in the hands of the actual units that are stationed wherever, and they get the order, fire the nuke. Yeah. Between Putin and the soldier that finally pushes the button, there is so many levels of people that have a completely different outlook in life and that do not want to push the button, that I don't think it would happen, even if Putin gave the order. Another thing
you don't think there's a hardliner or two that would shoot it? And then the other guys know that if 1 or 2 commanders shoot their nukes, If they don't shoot theirs and go ahead and saturate the area,
I'm going to
they
address
might
that
just
point in a
get
moment.
blown up.
I'm going to address that point in a moment. But there is, well, let's just say just the next layer. Yeah. After Putin, let's say there is 10 generals in the Joint Chiefs or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And Putin says, fire the nukes. I think among the next level of people in that room are enough people that will take out the gun and take out all the others that want to fire the nuke. I think the normal people, the sane people, are in the majority, especially in Russia. So another thing that tells me it's not going to happen, or that I find it unlikely that it will happen, is basically from day one of this invasion, Putin has threatened everybody with nuclear war. Yeah, I mean, at some point, yeah, come on, keep talking. If he
The boy
really
who
wanted
cried nuke.
the what?
The boy who cried nuke.
Yeah, it is at this point. I would, if something happens and somebody tells me, well, he gave the order, but the army refused, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, in terms of China, with the current situation, I'm not as confident. I'm not as confident because first of all, yes, Emperor Bowser, yeah, Winnie the Pooh, yeah, Winnie the Pooh would get his rocks off pushing that button. And I mean, we know how the Russian nuclear system works. We don't know how the Chinese works. And let's put it that way. With the capabilities they say that they have, they don't need nukes. Not for Taiwan, not for any major war. The problem is that just like the kind of cannon fodder Putin has been sending into Ukraine, I don't think the Chinese soldiers are any smarter. If you tell the standard Chinese soldier, assault that position, they will run directly towards it. The next lot will be watching the first lot getting gunned down, but do exactly the same. I have seen it, not in this context, but I have seen it happening because these people have any form of creativity and individual thinking beaten out of them by the whole education system. By the age of 10, it's done. Not by the age of 18 or by university age. No, by the age of 10, people have gone through an education system that values obedience and repetition what the master says. There is zero individual thought or ability culminating in one thing. I did a workshop on critical thinking. And after the workshop, a student asked me, what book do I have to read so I can do critical thinking? And I mean, like, dude, did you pay attention for the last 2 hours? Yeah. And these are the situations that tell me it's going to be a disaster. And you have people, even at mid-level in China, in charge that absolutely believe the propaganda that they hear. That's why they are in that position. But again, Martek's law, reality is significantly different. So what they are doing in the situation that they think they are in is making the problem worse because it's not the situation they are actually in. So in terms of that, I think at the higher level you can call it a delusion, and Putin and Xi live in a different world from you and me, quite literally. They literally believe the reality they came up with. Yeah.
And drank their own Kool-Aid.
That's one. I know that's an American expression, but it actually fits. It actually
Well,
fits.
technically, that's an African expression because it came from the Jonestown massacre,
Hmm.
where it was Americans. They gathered, there was a religious zealot, and he gathered hardline followers. And part of joining his church was you would sell your house, your belongings, and they used all the money to buy some land in Africa. And he also had Africans, you know, natives with AKs, and he made them basically his personal guard. And then he told everybody to make it to heaven, we have to drink this Kool-Aid. And everybody drank it. And the people who wouldn't drink it, he had his most loyal troops go around and execute them with AK 47s before he finally killed himself. So drinking the Kool-Aid, it did come from Americans who went to Africa, and also Africans fell for, you know, the religious zealot, and then they all killed themselves. There's been several documentaries about it, but that's
But
the
it
history
ties in the
behind
same thing.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
I mean, it ties in the same thing. So with his third term, Xi Jinping has surrounded himself, even in the highest level of the Politburo or the what is called standing committee or something, with yes men, yeah, with loyalists. They are in this position because they say yes, massa, to everything Xi Jinping says. If Xi Jinping says the sky is green, yes, massa, awesome, massa, yeah. And I mean, Putin is not that extreme, I think,
I
but he
think
is.
Putin's smarter though, but I also think I think he's more intelligent, but I also think he's more delusional.
I mean that can be the case. Very intelligent people are, but when they are in this delusion, they are usually deeper in, and it is much harder to get them out because they think, "Hey, I'm so intelligent. I can't be wrong in this, right?"
Well, I mean,
So
he was
and
extremely successful in the KGB. That is, that was a very competent intelligence
yeah,
agency. I mean,
I mean
except
he
for that
is.
whole check in the room during the Bobby Fischer Iceland chess match where they searched the room of the Russian Grandmaster because he said that they were pumping in gas. They kind of screwed that one up, but you know everybody gets a mulligan.
I mean, when I look at this situation, um, Putin is certain. I mean, even intelligent people can go crazy. Yeah, that's not to say. But reflecting on on myself, yeah, I was initially very much in the thing of Trump the pussy grabber. Yeah.
Mhm.
So and looking at what the media is reporting, and then I don't know. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But I watched the speech live and then listened to the reporting afterwards. I was not surprised that the Chinese news was completely off. Yeah. But I was like, when I watched Western news, American, German, you name it. Yeah.
BBC.
Whatever. Yeah. And I was like, the fuck? That's not what he said. Yeah. And I'm like, with all his faults, there was a very good article in a German news outlet that said when he brokered the peace deal between Israel and what was it, the Emirates?
Yeah, it was the UAE.
One of them deals. A German news outlet wrote, "Yeah, but at this stage, Trump could literally walk over water, and people would say the fucker can't even swim." Yeah. The other point is, I
Well,
think
he did what no other politician did. He said what he meant. Then when someone tried to say something about it, he would double down. He would say the same thing, and if he said I'm going to do this, he would either do it
on a
or he
couple
would
of
try.
positions he's not wrong. On a couple of positions he's not wrong. On other positions he's completely wrong. Yeah. I mean, no politician gets it 100% right. Okay.
No,
And what
especially
I
with a political system that's so divided. And
Well,
then you're going
that's
through a
another thing.
pandemic. There was so many handicaps to his presidency. Not to mention he was under investigation the entire time.
Well,
Still is.
like I said, I
But
don't
but
think
the
he
Clintons just get away with whatever.
is. I mean, this divide, a lot of it is not as bad as people or the media want to make it. Yeah, there's also that. I think another American has more in common with you than you have with me, or that you have with another person anywhere else in this world. Yeah.
Well, the
This,
average American, we get along with each other. There's not this hate that's being
yeah.
propagated in the media.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It is not happening on a daily basis, but
No,
um,
the media fuels it, and they only show the extreme cases.
that's
But like
another thing.
I get along with everybody. I work
Yep.
with Hispanic people, I work with African American people, I work with Puerto Ricans, Cubans, and when we're at the job site, we're all one team. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, but
We
look,
watch the
this
news
is
and
how
we're
an
like, "Oh,
organization is supposed to function. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are from. You do your job or you don't. That's the two things that can happen. Yeah, and I don't care if you do a great job, whether you are a Muslim, whether you have brushed your teeth or not. I don't care. Yeah, but speaking.
but if you're going to be in an office trailer with me, you better be someone who showers regularly. We will put your ass outside.
A GI shower.
There will be a multicultural movement to expel you from the office trailer because they are small and yo
I
ass
think
stank.
I'm gonna personally witness a code
Fuck out
red.
of here.
But the other thing is, I think Trump has outlived his usefulness, meaning that for the politics he wants to push, even the good parts, I think it needs another man to actually do it, or woman. Yeah. And again, the
Well, the right
people.
man for the job's not going to be available for 4 years.
Um, you see, I'm with you on that. That DeSantis would make a good president,
Because
in
we
my
just
opinion.
reelected his ass overwhelming majority.
So
We love our
my
governor in
top
Florida.
bids, if Trump is not running 2024, which would be a smart
No,
thing.
he already announced. He already
Yeah, he did.
announced.
He did announce, which I think is a mistake. And I think,
I think it's him going, fuck you.
well, the thing is, anyone who runs against him will take so much damage through the selection process that even if they win against Trump,
Oh,
they
you're
both
talking
win
about in the
against whoever the Democrats
primaries.
will.
Yeah, those are the primary elections. That's when the party chooses who they're going to send
Yeah.
against the opposition. So you're saying the other Republicans would damage their careers politically in the primary elections, not in the general election. The general election actually decides the president. The
Yeah.
primaries decide
No,
the
that's what I
candidate.
mean.
Yeah. And obviously
So,
he's going to need a new running mate because that
Pence,
January 6th stuff,
Pence is not going to do it.
they were chanting hang Mike Pence. I don't think Mike Pence is going to be his running mate, especially after he wrote that bullshit ass book.
Well, as running mate, or what I would favor as the top ticket for 2024, Mike Pompeo. Let that sink in. I mean, he won't run against Trump. He already said that.
I don't know if he'd do it though. I don't know if he'd get on the ticket.
I think if he is running, he has a very good chance. When I look at the other potential, what's his name? Ted Cruz? Yeah.
Well, Ted always throws his name in, but that's just to keep his brand fresh.
I mean, when I look at both, when I look at Pompeo now, and look at Ted Cruz, hands down Pompeo. Yeah, he also has experience at that level, and we know we're gonna get a consistent policy in terms of globalization, commerce, and China. And I mean, surprisingly, Biden has been 100% on the Trump line with China. So
No, he hasn't. The people telling him what to say. Dude, that dude doesn't know what day of the week it is.
I think a lot. I think a lot of it is posture.
He's gonna be wearing a Santa outfit on Easter.
So I mean, I've said it in terms of politics. He is a gangster. Yeah, let's put it how it is. He has
Trump
experience.
or
So
Pompeo?
Biden, Joe.
Biden, gangster?
Yeah. Look, Trump is shouting about it on Twitter and then does something. Biden does something and no one witnesses because everybody sees, the old senile guy, right? But again, in the Asia
You want to
policy,
talk about
China
gangsters?
versus
The
Taiwan.
Clintons are gangsters. They get people assassinated. They get people killed in prison. Call it a suicide. Daily reminder: Epstein didn't kill himself. Not a fucking
And
chance.
another, I'm quoting another, or I'm paraphrasing another person here. Is a guy who has been in prison, and he basically said, "So you are telling me that a guy on suicide watch, with guards watching them through TV, through a camera, suicides himself in his cell and isn't found hours?" Yeah. My first thing as an investigator is talk to the guard, and talking as in talk until they spill their guts. Yeah. So that's
I'm
what I mean.
surprised the guards aren't dead yet, aren't unalived.
Oh,
It was too high profile to knock them off right away, but no, they're protected. They're being protected by the people who paid them off to let it happen.
let me just say this. It's not important to know who is behind it. It's important to know who is behind the people who are behind it. And as you keep saying in other videos, follow the money. So
Mm-hmm.
this on a different note, on a different topic. I mean, trying to go back to Putin and his nukes. Um, I mean, what is? I mean, Putin's interests. I mean, at that stage, he is smart enough to realize he cannot win. Yeah,
You would hope
and
so.
the thing is, in his priority list, I think he is pretty close to I want to stay in power, which is essentially the last step. Yeah. And the Ukrainians already said, well, we are not going to talk to him. Yeah.
But I haven't seen videos of Russians protesting the war.
Well, the Russians are tried to leave, and it is causing economic disruption left and
Yeah,
right.
but Finland
But
closed their borders. They said no,
yeah,
you stay over
Georgia
there.
is not happy. Georgia is not happy about them trying to cross the border.
Is
Any
Azerbaijan and Armenia still at war?
Yeah, Kazakh,
Okay,
the only
that's,
country.
I mean, that's pretty close. I mean, I know it's two different countries, but Azerbaijan borders Georgia, yes?
Yep,
Okay. So they already
it is
got
the
some
area.
refugee problems. I'm sure some people from Azerbaijan and
Yep.
Armenia have tried to flee to Georgia. So they probably already have a refugee crisis.
I mean, the only border that is still relatively easy to cross is into Kazakhstan. And the Kazakhs also don't want the Russians. So
Aren't the Kazakhs majority Muslim?
Kazakhstan has a lot of Muslims. I know that, yes. And there is, I mean, it's the area of Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, or
Well, the further down this,
Turkmenistan.
well, because there's like seven. What there's seven stand countries. I know the further south you go, the more majority Muslim it is,
Yeah,
and the Russians are predominantly Orthodox, if I believe.
yeah. I mean, the Kazakhs also speak Russian, so it's also a thing of the Russians don't want to go too far away. If I mean those with money have already run away if they disagree with Putin, and a lot of them are in the UK. So really, I mean, London has the nickname Londonistan or Londonsky. So I mean, there's areas that are
I like Leningrad. That has a nice
Londongrad.
ring to it.
Yeah,
That
I
has a
mean,
nice ring.
why can I relatively cheaply buy real Russian caviar here in the UK? There must be a market.
Maybe
So
they brought it with trade goods. We have trade goods.
no,
We know you can't take our money because you basically made the ruble worthless. But yeah,
those Russians have their money in dollars and outside of Russia. No problem. I mean, I am surprised picking up on the topic that you hit open. I'm surprised that we don't hear more from inside Russia. Yeah. Uh, I am also, or I was initially surprised that we're getting these high level, high quality leaks from China. But
that surprises me.
I'm no longer surprised. There is a very smart British guy who worked in China for donkey's years and has been in the diplomatic corps and so on and so forth. And he speculated that Xi Jinping will be removed before he gets his third term, which obviously didn't happen. And
But who would
uh,
replace him? Who's next man up?
that's my thinking. I said if he gets his third term, he won't enjoy it for very long. And sources that have also lived in China for a long, long time that have been saying no, he will get his third term are now saying these riots. They have information that it's happening all over China. And I mean, I generally trust that information. It is corroborated by information that I have, but I have no such information or no such sources within Russia. I mean,
Question: if there was a regime change, do you ever think we'd see a free Tibet?
that depends entirely on what you mean by regime change. Do you mean a change in personnel or a change in politics?
If Winnie the Pooh is gone and the next guy doesn't have the clout, doesn't have the wherewithal to maintain the iron fist on the grip on the country and the system that's in place, if he's not as strong as Xi and able to do that, do you think you could see, protests, rebellions?
I think what we could see is the same situation as in the Balkans, that provinces, especially the wealthy coastal provinces, are declaring independence, yeah, or are declaring a form of secession, or that China would break into several parts, which would include a liberal Tibet, which would see an autonomous Xinjiang province, is East Turkestan. I mean, there is so many scenarios that people have been talking about. I mean, there have been talks that northeastern China would lean towards Russia and Japan. Yeah, and there is also scenarios where basically instead of invading Taiwan, she would swallow North Korea. So it is very difficult to say. The person I
See, I don't
had.
think Kim Jong Il would go for that. I mean, they do have, what is it, the third or fourth largest standing army? I mean, they're not fed well, their equipment is shit, but
Oh,
plug the dam with a lot of bodies.
I don't see this as a winnable scenario.
Well, because they have
Um,
nukes too. If China ever tried to annex North Korea, I think the Kim family, whichever member of the dynasty was in power, I mean, they've already proven that they can shoot one over Japan. It borders China. I know they could get one there.
I mean that is a very delicate situation. As right to go with the likeliness of scenarios. My top scenario is that somebody from the Communist Party will replace him, and potentially move to a much stronger liberalization and democratization. Will we see free votes in China during our lifetime? Maybe, but not in the next year. Not in, maybe not even in the next 5 years, even in the best scenario. Now, that is a thing, depending on who is in the White House, because the counterbalance really is who is in the White House. And if it's somebody like Pompeo, then basically the response from the White House will be, yeah, we still don't talk to the Communist Party. Fuck off. Yeah. And that is the next person to take over in China will need to fix the economy. And that won't happen without approval from the US, period. Yeah. Not only because you guys buy their shit, because you guys will go around and say, if you are buying their shit, you are not going to do business with us. That's the situation the world is in right now. And
Well, that's why Russian pilots are using Garmin and TomTom and smartphones for GPS, because if you do business with them, you can't do business with us, and we pay better.
uh, I mean, another reason is, first of all, GLONASS is shit. Then the question, I mean, have you used it? Yeah. And but when I look at the operations or what is coming out, and the opinions and analysis of people that are in the military are like, well, there is a guy on YouTube, a former, well, he is, if I get this right, he is a former sergeant, and he was in a unit that is posing as Russians to train US forces. Yeah. And he said we were using Russian tactics, equipment, and everything. Yeah. And there's only two reasons why that helicopter is flying next to the road. Number one, the pilot is fucking lazy. Number two, their navigation is completely fucked and the pilot inexperienced.
Mhm.
So those are the two scenarios. Um, Before we got off this tangent, a political change in China. That is for me the most likely scenario, that somebody else from the party will take over. I also have a name in mind. I'm obviously not gonna say it. Um,
What? You're free now?
I am free, but that person is still in China. So, and I would be very much surprised if that person is not being watched for exactly that reason.
A
So,
political threat.
if you are in China, you are under threat. Period. That's the situation right now. Especially if you have even the slightest disagreement with the government line, and that person has disagreed with the government line. So, another scenario would be that through external or internal force, the Communist Party would lose favor. And that is still a very likely scenario, in my opinion, because essentially what's happening, I need to justice. What is happening is the leadership principle or the leadership agreement of the Communist Party with the Chinese people is we let you get rich, we let you get money, and you let us make every decision. So now people realize, well, my life is not getting better. The economy is fucked. So that agreement is broken.
You didn't fulfill your side of the bargain.
Exactly. So this is another scenario that the Communist Party would be ousted by the people with or without help from external forces. And again, I see if the next leader in China is still a member of the Communist Party and follows the general party line, they will have problem with everything outside of China.
Which will cause problems inside of China.
Yeah. I mean, the whole situation is very difficult. The leadership under Xi Jinping has made the situation worse, not better. And any solution at this stage, I mean, this is from Xi Jinping's perspective, it is a no-win scenario, no matter which decision they make. Yeah, either the people are going to demand more, or they are going to make the situation worse. Any situation that would fix the economy and the current political problems they have inside of China would actively undermine the rule of the government. And the rule of the government is the paramount thing that they are going after. So they are not looking at economics or anything else. Their primary decision criterion is we want to stay in power. Yeah.
Well, most people in power do. That's not a new thing.
It's not a new thing. It's not a Chinese thing, but this is basically
it's a human trait.
Yep. So
all cultures, all races, religions.
I mean, I don't see.
It's something that humans do.
I mean, those two are the most likely scenarios for my opinion that has lived in China. The situation where suddenly a lot of people appear that are strong enough to unite even a portion of China under a new leadership against the central governments.
But you might get the avalanche effect if you can mobilize the group and other people see that their tactics and strategies are working. People will flock to that movement.
And
the disillusion, the angry.
That is the problem. Yeah. The information flow is so restricted. You have the situation that, or previously you had the situation that you have a compound, a living compound, where they have the skyscrapers on one side of the road that is locked down, and the other compound on the other side of the road doesn't know. And when they find out, they say, oh, well, thank God it's not me. They don't care what's happening on the other side of the road. Yeah. Again,
maybe one day they will.
Well, one day they will, but the path from a complete destruction of morality, culture, and ethics during the Cultural Revolution up until the point what you just mentioned is very long, very difficult. But I do think it is a possibility. But again, it is compared to the other two scenarios that I put forward, the much less likely. My opinion.
We will see.
Well, I do sincerely, I mean, for all outcomes, I do genuinely hope that the people in China will have a better life afterwards. And since I mean, for my personal view, without the Communist Party, because even a new person with the same hat, it is inherently in the ideology that it doesn't work. There are reasons why so-called communists, so-called communism has not worked throughout human history.
Socialism hasn't worked
Yeah, I mean, if you even fail
in
at
any
socialism,
form.
if you even fail at socialism, yeah, then we don't even need to discuss about communism because it won't work either. Yeah. So I mean, at some point, like I said, you are creating a nihilistic society where nothing means anything. And if you think that is a populace that is easy to govern, think again. Yeah, this a
But see,
nihilist
the
is
people are
essentially
moving away
government.
from that. The fashion scene in China is blowing up. Personal expression is at amongst the youth is huge. I
I
just
am
learned
so
about their fashion scene a couple months ago, and like I've seen videos. Like these dudes are swagged out. Like they got their own little thing going on, man, and they all look different. There's personal expression,
what I see is you have a
and
generation that
that's
is
bad for
relatively young,
communism.
that has been educated abroad, that have so to speak tasted freedom. Yeah, and again, the example: the students come here in September, everybody's masked up. At some point, they ask themselves, well, why am I the only person in the bus that's wearing a mask? And they start to look into the situation, and oh, everybody's vaccinated. And if I can get the vaccine as well, a good vaccine, and if I still get it after three shots, it is not that bad. Yeah. So the picture that has been implanted in these people is completely, their world is getting taken apart. And especially when you put these people back, something of that education sticks. And they realize these skills that they hopefully learned in their education here in the Western world is absolutely useless in the kind of society they are in. And they don't like that either. But I would be more I would be saying people that are in their early 30s are more likely to push for that change because they have seen the liberalization of China and they see it's going the other way and their life gets worse. Yeah, marriage rate is at the bottom. Fertility rates are at the bottom. People are no longer having kids. At the same time, people are in their 40s, in their 30s and 40s, are getting divorces like mad in China. So this is all signs for me that there is opposition to the system, whether openly or yeah, more subtly. But my personal opinion is that the regime there is on the last leg, and a smart
We can only hope.
person, a smart person taking over after this disaster that is happening or unfolding for China since 2012 will have a lot of damage to repair in and outside the country. Yeah. And again, I can only hope this is a temporary situation and that it doesn't go down to the root of a second Tiananmen Square or violence breaking out not only on a continuous but sustained basis that we basically have the army deployed in China 24/7. Yeah? Because that situation is, I don't even want to think about it.
Well, my heart goes out to the Chinese people as a whole, but their government can fuck off.
Well, that's the general situation. I had a discussion the other day. is when you say that some of the Wu say, "Oh, you're insulting the Chinese government. You're insulting all Chinese people." And
I don't believe that to be true.
well, no, I turn that
I
thing
insult
around
my
and I
I
say,
insult my government when my government's screwing up. That doesn't mean I'm saying fuck America.
no. What I'm saying as a response is, okay, so I can, if that is true, what you're saying, whenever a Chinese person makes a mistake, I can blame another random Chinese person because it's all the same for you. And you will see how quickly the discussion ends. But I also see that the Wumaos are really quiet these days on Western social media.
Well, I think this is a good place to leave it.
Yeah,
I'm Rish. That's
I'm
Roland.
Roland, and we will all see you next time.